Hey, Jackie, sorry about that.
Hello, no problem.
So we
I
are,
always forget about this until like the last second.
no worries, no worries. So we are now recording, just so you know.
All right, thank you. Um, okay, so I guess I'll be getting started then. Before I start, have you guys anyone here used RefWorks before? Somewhat familiar, very familiar, not familiar? Yes, Barbara.
Of course, I've used it.
All right. So yes, we have some very familiar librarians here. And all
I can
right.
just comment that for the PA students, when we talked to them about a week ago, the majority of them were unfamiliar. So I think they were referring to the recording. They'd probably want more detailed explanation.
Okay. Yes, because this is a absolutely amazing product, and it's very good to learn about it before you actually start writing your papers. So, all right, let me start presenting, and then actually introduce myself. All right, let's get this window. All right, can you all see RepWorks up there?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right. So, hi, my name is Jackie Werner. I am the Scholarly Communications and Research Librarian here in Philadelphia. And today I'm going to be talking about RefWorks. RefWorks is an amazing tool that the library offers. It's a citation manager, which lets you save and organize citations from any database or anywhere else. And most importantly, you can actually install add-ins for Microsoft Word or Google Docs that lets you put citations into your papers and format them correctly as you write. So if you make a RefWorks account while you're at PCOM, you can then use it for however long as we stay subscribed to RefWorks afterwards. So I highly recommend, if you think you may be interested in the future, just make an account now and you'll be able to keep it. All right, so let me actually get back to the library main page here. And to get to RefWorks, you can click on My Accounts here and then just click RefWorks. And when you first go here, you'll have to log in. This is different from your regular PCOM sign-in information. So you'll just have to create a login with your using your PCOM email. And it's pretty straightforward. It'll just tell you how to sign up. And then you'll end up on this page. So I already have over 2,000 references saved here. And this is just a view of all the references that I have. Most of these are saved from different databases. And you can also add them yourself. So let me show you what a reference looks like. All right, this is, as you can see, in my example folder. And this article I took from APA Psych Info database. And since I imported that from here, all the information about the article comes directly into the reference manager without having to type it all myself. So it comes with the abstract, the tags, the title, and everything that you're going to need for a citation, and some extra, including the notes here. Now, if you want you can, after you've added any reference, you can click this little pencil here and edit it. And there's also an option to add an attachment. So if you'd like to keep all the PDFs of the papers that you're using online, then you can download the PDF and then add it as an attachment. And so you could keep all of your work available on the cloud from any computer. Once you do that, you can just click Save. So what if you don't have a reference from a database. You could, if you just click add and then create new reference, you can add any sort of reference to this. Now, before you start, you'll want to have some sort of look. You'll want to look at what type of citation style you're using and basically see what does that style need. For instance, here we have reference type journal article. And pretty much all reference styles, they're going to need things like the title, the authors, don't need to fill in the abstract, but issue, journal, URL if you have one, pages, etc. So most of the time you'll be able to automatically import journal articles. And if you have an article where you know the title, but you had found it in a database a long time ago and you don't want to research for it, let me try searching here. I'm going to do something. Now, usually you would actually search for a real title, but I'm just going to search for COVID in adolescence and then click this lightning bolt here. And it finds a bunch of published titles that might be what we're looking for. If you have the full title, then it's easy to just copy and paste it in the title here, search, click the one that's correct, and then it imports all the information about that. Just click save, and it's there. You could also add, since you usually won't be doing this for journal articles, you could add things such as books. You could have a generic reference if it's some sort of type of reference, all sorts of things, maps, music scores, newspaper articles, etc. So anything that you will be citing, you can just add to RefWorks. Now, if you are if you're citing medical articles, you can also search Pubmed directly from RefWorks and add things. So if I click search databases over here, it's now searching Pubmed. So I'm going to search for COVID adolescence. And there we have, let me move this, we have over 8,000 references. So when you are actually searching for articles, you want to search in Pubmed because this search does not have any of the many tools that Pubmed has to like limit your search or make searching easier. But once again, if you have the title of an article and you don't want to import things from a database again, you can just search for, go to search databases, put in the title of the article, and then click import, and it goes directly into your collection. All right, so before I show you how to add something from a database, do you have any questions? All right, let's go over to Pubmed. And I'll go, let's see, COVID adolescent mental health. Let's search. Okay, and this you could see what happens if you have filters set, such as Chinese. All right, so I got rid of my filters. Here's an actual search for COVID adolescent mental health. Let's see. This one looks like exactly what I'm looking for. So in every database that the library has access to, there's going to be some way to import or to export articles directly into RefWorks. Pubmed is actually one of the trickiest ones, so I'll start with that and then show you one of the easier databases. All right, so this article is exactly what I want. I'm just going to click Send to here, and then Send to Citation Manager. If you know you're going to get a lot of things from from a single database, you can first send it to a clipboard, and then once you have a bunch of articles in the clipboard, send it from there to the citation manager. I just have one article here, so I'm just going to click Send to Citation Manager right on this article. And what this does is create a file. Now, I don't think you could see that, but what popped up in my screen was a save as prompt, and it has a file name that ends with .nbib. I'm going to just save that on my desktop. And now let me pop back over to RefWorks, go back to all references, and click Add. Now we're going to go to the second option here, which is Import References. And down here it says Import from a file. So one thing to be careful of, import from a file does not work on if you just saved a PDF. This is going to import only specific bibliographic files. There technically is an option to import, to stick a PDF into RefWorks and have it scrape the information from that, but that usually does not work very well. So, and then you would have to go in and edit a lot of what it's done anyway. So I highly recommend just getting it from the database instead. All right, but I saved the file to my desktop. Now I just want to click Select a file from your computer. And you can't see this again, but I am just sorting so I find the NBIB file I just saved, and then click Open. And now you could see it says this file will, and then I clicked out of it. Let's try that again. It says this file will be imported, and it recognizes that it's from Pubmed. Now, of course, it doesn't want to work since I clicked out of the window while I was showing you. All right, I'm going to try reloading it one more time. Okay, we think this file is NLM Pubmed, which is correct. Select Import. And then it lets me select what folder I have this in. So folders let you obviously organize your references. And I've created a whole ton of different folders in here. I'm going to add this to example folders and select Import. And we've saved one document in your library. And there we go, last imported. Here is all the information coming right from Pubmed. You could compare it. It's exactly the same thing here. And once again, if you wanted to actually save the PDF itself, you could just edit it here, download the PDF from Pubmed, and then add it as an attachment. All right, so once you've gotten some things in here, you'll probably want to have folders. And the two major ways to organize citations is in folders and projects. Over here, there's a link to my folders, and there's also an option to add a folder. And that's just going to basically organize citations so it's a little easier to keep track of them. For example, I have a folder for literature reviews, and within that, I have a subfolder for different literature reviews. And then some of those I divided into two more subfolders, the ones that I'm going to be using in this article, and the ones that that are not actually relevant. So I like using this as a way to say, separate the ones that I've read and the ones I haven't read yet. One thing you could also do is, as you can see, tags import onto citations when you take them from a database. You can also add your own tags. So for example, if you find everything by searching instead of looking for folders, you could just have a tag saying, say, thesis project, or capstone paper not read. And then you could search for those tags and find them all in one location. You also have the option of using projects. And projects are basically completely separate databases of citations. So say you're working on 2 projects at the same time, and you only want to access the citations for one of those projects at a time. Like when you're working on your thesis, you don't want to see a list of the 500 other citations that you've saved for your work. In that case, you could just go up here where it says project and then click manage projects. And then you can create a new project. And I prefer not to use projects myself, but depending on what you're working on, they could be really useful if you really want to keep your references sealed off from each other. All right. And another great thing about both folders and projects is that you could share them with other people. And they can be shared with anyone using RefWorks, which means anyone at PCOM or outside of PCOM that has RefWorks. But you can set a folder to be shared to anyone on the campus. Let me click to sharing here and click share a folder. Let me pick a folder here. And then you have the options only invited people may access, or anyone within your organization may join this folder. So if you're all working on a publication as a lab, you can give access to just invite every person in your lab, give them access to read, annotate, or modify the folder. And you can all work on it together. Now, sometimes this can get a little ornery. So if you ever try to invite people to a folder, they should get an email that gives them access, and then they should just be able to use it. But if you run into issues with that, then please contact me and I'll help you troubleshoot getting them access. All right, so before I go on to writing and inserting citations within Word or Google Docs, I'm going to pop to one other database and show you an easier way of importing things from a database. So let me pop over to PsycInfo, APA PsycInfo here. All right, and let me wait for this to connect here. All right, so while this is loading, do you have any questions about adding references, folders, any of that? All right, let me put in COVID trauma in here. And this might look familiar even if you haven't used PsycInfo, because this is one of our EBSCO databases, which means that it's going to be the same basic type of search. And this also means that any of the EBSCO databases, it's very easy to add anything to RefWorks. All right, so I'm going to let that load in the background. And while that's happening, I'm going to go back to all references here. Okay, says refresh because I had to open in another tab. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to use tools. So, I'm sorry, the easier way to get to that is if you click on your name in the right-hand corner here, there's an option to go to tools. And these are all add-ons that make using RefWorks a little easier. Here, there's a button that you could save onto your browser that adds references from any website. So not just from databases, but if you say you find a website that you want to cite, you can just click the Save to RefWorks button, and it will attempt to scrape all the information from there and add it to RefWorks. This runs into the same issue that trying to get information from a PDF does, in that it tries really hard to scrape the correct information, but a lot of the times you're going to have to go in manually and fix things. But it is a useful tool, and if you click it, it's pretty easy to use. All right, looks like all right. Let's find another database. I'm going to blame this on Philadelphia being underwater. All right, I'm going to click on Scopus here and see if this is going to be a little easier. All right. All right, that is actually working. So I'm going to click on this article. This is exactly what I want here. Good. You'll notice there's a little drop-down menu that says RefWorks Export. First time you use that, it might not say RefWorks yet, but if you just click on the little down arrow next to it, you'll see you could change, you could choose a method of export. If you just click RefWorks and then select Export, it will bring you here. And yes, you do want to export it to the newest version of RefWorks. You can click Don't Ask Me This Again. And from then on, as soon as you click that button, it will automatically send your citation right to RefWorks, and you could put it in any project or folder. And we saved one document in your library. Really easy to use. I'd say most of our databases are going to be that nice direct export to RefWorks format. But whenever you don't, all you have to do is basically do like I did in Pubmed, just save the citation file, and then you can just plug it right into RefWorks. All right. Oh, we only have 5 minutes left. Okay, back to tools. All right, the important tool here is cite references in your word processor. So this works for Microsoft Word, Google Docs, and Hangul. So there is a download button here, but definitely read this before you click it. If you use Word 2016 and above, including, say, Word 365 that you get from PCOM, it tells you to install RefWorks directly into Microsoft Word via the Word store. If you have a previous version of Word, then you want to go down here. It'll recognize what computer you're using and download that for you. But let me stop sharing and then share Microsoft Word. All right. So all you have to do once you're in Word is on the Insert tab, there's a link to the store. And on the store, just search for RefWorks and then add this to your computer. Once you've done that, it'll show up in My Add-ins, and then RefWorks Citation Manager. So this will load over here, and you'll have to log in with your RefWorks credentials. And then all of your references are going to be available here. And this is where using projects, it's important to know what project you're using, because only one project at a time can show up in your citation manager. Because when you use projects, that means you don't want the citations to mix. But you can find there, you could just click change project if you need to. And if not, all of your references and their folders will be here. And you can also just search for the references. And here, putting in a useful tag might be helpful so that you could find specific references you need. All right, so let me put in, this is a reference. All right, here is my reference, and I want to cite this specific reference. All right, so first of all, I'm going to click this little hamburger menu over here and change my citation style. So the last one I used was APA 7th, but there's over 6,000 styles to use. I'm going to search for, there we go, AMA 11th. So I click on APA style, click update. Now I'm going to cite this. And the in-text citation is inserted. So the first time you do this, you're going to want to click on the hamburger menu and then turn the bibliography on. And there you have your citation. And if you realize, wait, I used the wrong citation style, you could just go back to the citation settings and change it to a different style. And then click update. So this is incredibly useful, makes even changing styles easy, but we still recommend that you know what style you're using from the beginning, because sometimes the punctuation is going to be different for in-text citations. For instance, I put the citation after the period, which is correct for AMA style, but not for MLA style. So let me go back to AMA style, click update, and everything updates. And it will make sure that everything stays in the correct format. So this is an earlier reference. And then I'm going to cite a new reference right there. And it renumbers them. So if you've ever had to renumber your citations a million times because you realize you forgot a citation in an earlier sentence, this will take care of all of that for you. And let me stick in, this is reference 1. And then put reference 1 again. And it recognizes that, yes, this is already in your list, and this is your first reference. So using this on Google Docs is going to work basically the same way. You'll have the pane over here, Citation Manager. And the one thing you have to worry about is that RefWorks and Word sometimes don't actually like to work together. So don't panic if that happens, but just send me an email and I might have to pass you on to ITS or to the RefWorks support. But if worse comes to worst, it can be easier to get it to work in Google Docs. So you might want to start with just using that if you have any issues with Word. All right, and the other thing to remember is that starting references using this from the beginning is so much easier than trying to change existing references. to the proper format. So I highly recommend starting this as soon as you start the paper, and don't try to do it in the middle. Okay, so that I am 1 minute over, but do you have any quick questions about RefWorks? All right, if you have any questions in the future, please feel free to contact me. You could also contact Megan Dorito in Georgia, and I think Teresa's our South Georgia RefWorks contact. But you can just, on the library homepage, you could even just go to the chat box if you don't remember who you need to talk to, and we'll get you to the right person to answer your questions. All right, so I hope this helped. And please, if you have any more questions, especially once you've gone around and played with RefWorks, then just contact me. And thank you all very much for coming.